I know Ersson doesn't have it right now. This is not a comment on what I think he's going to be long term. I have no idea. Maybe he's a number one. Maybe this is just the struggles a rookie goes through when he has to start every single game for 3 months. I'm not putting it all on like Ersson as a prospect or Ersson as what he's going to be down the line. But at this very moment, he doesn't have it, and you've lost 5 in a row. You need to come up with something else right now. And Fedotov starts 19 of 21. The goals he gives up, it's Anders Lee in front, basically unchecked.
That glove, man.
Yeah, and a bad turnover, 3-on-3. It's basically a breakaway. You know, like that's what happens. It's basically a 2-on-0 down low, and of course they scored. The Islanders go to overtime, and this time they win it. But it's very frustrating what's happening in net right now, but I want to see, all right, man, just give me Fedotov at least for Friday.
And look, the situation that Ersson's in, it's not easy. It's really not. We talked about the Carter Hart situation earlier, and now this guy was essentially playing every single game with a team that's pushing for one of those final playoff spots. Now, with the Fedotov, it's interesting how that dynamic's going to work because obviously, look, he comes in, the crowd is going absolutely wild for him, and as Ersson just gets pulled out after 4 saves off 6 shots, how does one feel after that? No, you cannot feel any good about that. So it's going to be interesting to see how Torts does play this. I personally think that Ersson should go back out there on Friday against Buffalo, but definitely it has to be Ersson Fedotov in that back-to-back because I don't want to see either one of those on both of those games. But for right now, like you mentioned, the tape on Fedotov is not a lot. So right now, he's gonna look like the hotter hand. But I'm just more concerned about Ersson because look, he's looked pretty solid in his rookie year.
Yeah.
In the situation he's been put in, he's looked really solid.
If he looked like this all year, I'd be like, get this guy the fuck out. Like, what are we doing? But I've seen enough from him that I'm like, listen, this was an insane situation. Let me give another year to evaluate him. And that's what you do in a rebuild is you evaluate. I want to see him and Fedotov maybe in a some sort of tandem next year. Like if that can be what they end up doing. I know we talked earlier, just a few days ago, really, about, okay, they need to bring in a veteran netminder and kind of be, that Brian Elliott, the way he was for Carter Hart. But it's not as if Fedotov is a prospect.
Yeah.
This dude is now, it's like, all right, you're an NHL goalie or you're not, man. He's gonna play next year at 28 years old. Like,
yeah.
This is it. This is your chance. Here you go. So, put those two in a tandem. Maybe you have a third guy who cycles in at some point. But I do something I will say for Ersson in the immediate future that I do think is beneficial. The next 4 games all on the road.
Yeah. I
realize you'd think like, in your head, well, that's tougher, a hostile environment. Listen, one, we're seeing the buzz there is with Fedotov. That can maybe, like, man, I was here all year and, like, got us to this spot, and they've turned on me just like that. And if he has another first period where he gives up 2 goals on 6 shots, he's getting booed off the ice. That's not good for anyone. Like, the next 4 games being on the road, I think actually helps the goaltending situation because it's a chance to just kind of go out there, play your game, reset, and not think like, man, dude's like wearing the same color jersey I'm wearing hate me. Like I think that could be good for him mentally.
And to be fair with Ersson, like a lot of players on this team are not playing well.
Oh, absolutely. This is, again, not all on him.
And unfortunately, Ersson does play the most important position on the ice, so that is the downfall of it. But, man, everyone has to pick it up, and for Ersson, he's got to find that mental edge again. And so hopefully – we talked about his short-term memory. Right now, I think it's just mental fatigue, if anything. You can only tell your brain so much, right, to get yourself damped up. But we're gonna have to wait and see this upcoming weekend what Torts decides to do.
You know what I'm hoping to see this weekend? A couple of big old bagels. I want to see whatever goaltender is in net. I want to see them very much limit this. Like, we're talking about Buffalo and we're talking about Columbus here. These are not the most daunting offenses.
We all silly like the mayor.